Start talking at home. Lily often felt a knot in her stomach when English conversations arose. Her grammar knowledge was decent, her reading comprehension strong, but speaking? That was a terrifying mountain she hadn't dared to climb. Opportunities slipped away daily, just because her tongue seemed glued. She yearned for fluid expression. This silent struggle consumed her thoughts. She saw her peers confidently engaging, their words flowing effortlessly. Lily, however, would rehearse sentences mentally, only to freeze when her turn came. The fear of making mistakes, of sounding foolish, paralyzed her every attempt. It wasn't just shyness, it was a profound barrier. Her career aspirations seemed distant. One quiet evening, scrolling through online forums, a simple phrase caught her eye. "Start talking at home." Sounded almost too easy, too unassuming. But the idea, once planted, began to sprout. Could the solution to her speaking dilemma truly lie within the familiar comfort of her own four walls? The concept felt liberating. No judgmental stares, no pressure to perform perfectly. Just Lily, her thoughts, and the quiet space. It was an unprecedented opportunity to experiment, to stumble, and to learn without the weight of external expectations. This simple notion ignited a flicker of hope. Her first attempt was hesitant, a whisper to herself about her day. I woke up early," she mumbled, feeling slightly silly. The words felt alien even in her own voice. But she persisted, pushing past the initial awkwardness, understanding that awkwardness was merely part of the journey. How to talk at home to yourself became her mantra. She started describing objects in her room, narrating her actions as she made tea, or even discussing fictional scenarios with an imaginary friend. The mirror became a confidant, reflecting her evolving expressions. Initially, her self-talk felt forced, like acting out a clumsy play. Her vocabulary seemed to shrink, and common phrases vanished from her mind. Yet, with each whispered sentence, a tiny crack appeared in the wall of her inhibition. She was slowly finding her voice. She progressed to recording her voice memos, listening back with a critical yet compassionate ear, analyzing her pronunciation, identifying pauses, and noting areas for improvement became part of her routine. This self-assessment was incredibly powerful, revealing insights traditional classes never could. The sheer repetition, speaking words aloud again and again, began to reshape her oral muscles. Phrases that once felt cumbersome now rolled off her tongue with increasing ease. It wasn't about perfection yet, but about the sheer act of producing sound, building neural pathways. This private practice built a foundational confidence. Lily realized that the internal censor, the voice that told her she wasn't good enough, began to quieten. She was creating a safe space for error, a laboratory for language acquisition without any external pressure. Beyond self-talk, she discovered the joy of English story reading aloud. She began with simple children's books, then moved to short stories and articles. The rhythm of the sentences, the natural flow of narratives, helped her internalize native speech patterns. Each new story presented fresh vocabulary and idiomatic expressions. Instead of just passive reading, vocalizing the words cemented them in her memory. She paid close attention to punctuation, pausing and emphasizing as if performing for an audience. She mimicked the intonation she heard in audiobooks, trying to capture the emotional nuances of the characters. This wasn't merely about speaking. It was about embodying the language, bringing stories to life through her own voice. Felt incredibly engaging. The combination of reading and speaking reinforced each other. Her fluency improved dramatically as her brain started connecting written words with their spoken form. Her pronunciation became clearer, her rhythm more natural, silencing her inner critic. Recognizing the progress, Lily decided she needed a more structured approach, an English study plan for talking. She designated specific times each day purely for speaking practice, treating it as seriously as any academic subject. Consistency was paramount. Her plan involved dedicated slots for self-talk, reading aloud, and even role-playing imaginary conversations. She also integrated listening exercises, understanding that effective speaking necessitates strong comprehension. It was a holistic method. How to improve your fluency became the driving force behind her schedule. She focused less on grammatical perfection and more on maintaining a continuous flow of speech, even if it meant making minor errors. Fluency meant communicating ideas smoothly. She understood that language acquisition wasn't linear. There would be days of frustration, moments where progress seemed non-existent. But her disciplined English talking practice kept her moving forward, little by little, day by day. To refine her listening skills, Lily immersed herself in English podcasts, news broadcasts, and TV shows. She started without subtitles, forcing her brain to actively process the sounds and infer meaning from context. This was challenging but rewarding. She listened for specific phrasal verbs, common expressions, and native speech rhythms. Gradually, the jumble of sounds transformed into decipherable words and sentences. Her ear became attuned to the subtleties of spoken English, improving comprehension significantly. How to improve your listening skills was not just about understanding words. It was about absorbing the culture embedded in the language. She learned to differentiate accents, to pick up on conversational cues, and to appreciate linguistic diversity. A crucial realization dawned on Lily: why you should practice speaking. It wasn't just about showing off. It was about truly connecting with others, expressing her authentic self, and fully participating in opportunities that required communication. Speaking practice bridged the gap between passive knowledge and active usage. It transformed theoretical understanding into practical ability. Without speaking, her extensive vocabulary and grammar rules would remain locked away, unused and ineffective. She recognized that genuine communication requires active participation. You cannot truly master a language by merely reading or listening. You must actively produce it. This conviction solidified her commitment to daily speaking practice. How to practice English evolved into a multifaceted approach for Lily. She wasn't just talking to herself anymore. She joined online language exchange groups cautiously at first. The initial anxiety returned but was now manageable. She started interacting with native speakers, asking questions and sharing her thoughts. Each conversation, no matter how short or imperfect, was a victory. The feedback she received was invaluable, helping her fine-tune her expressions. Lily also incorporated dictation exercises into her routine, listening to a sentence and then writing it down, then speaking it aloud, sharpened her auditory processing and reinforced correct spelling and pronunciation simultaneously. She began journaling in English, first simply, then more complexly. Reading her written thoughts aloud afterwards provided additional speaking practice and helped internalize new vocabulary. It was a comprehensive linguistic workout. Role-playing different scenarios became a fun way to practice. Imagining job interviews, ordering food, or debating topics allowed her to prepare mentally and verbally for real-life situations, reducing her performance anxiety. To enhance her How to Improve Your English journey, Lily focused on specific areas she felt weaker in, like verb tenses or prepositions. She found targeted exercises online and diligently integrated them into her daily study plan. She also embraced making mistakes as part of the learning process. Each error was a stepping stone, an opportunity to understand a rule better, rather than a cause for embarrassment. This mindset shift was profoundly liberating. Her dedication wasn't without its challenges. There were days she felt tired, unmotivated, or simply overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information. But the internal progress she felt kept her going, pushing through the plateaus. Lily started noticing tangible results in everyday life. She could now confidently answer calls from international clients, participate in team meetings, and even enjoy English language films without constantly relying on subtitles. Her colleagues commented on her improved communication skills, praising her newfound confidence. This external validation fueled her desire to continue, affirming that her solitary efforts at home had indeed paid off immensely. The once terrifying prospect of speaking English transformed into an exciting challenge, an opportunity to connect and learn. Her world expanded, new perspectives opened, and her career trajectory soared as a direct result. Lily became an advocate for home-based English practice, sharing her journey with friends who faced similar struggles. She emphasized the power of consistency and the magic of creating a safe, judgment-free learning environment. She stressed that fluency wasn't about sounding like a native speaker overnight, but about being understood and communicating effectively. It was a journey of continuous improvement, not a destination of absolute perfection. Her initial shyness had not entirely vanished, but it was now a minor whisper, easily overshadowed by her newfound confidence and desire to communicate. The fear had been replaced by a quiet determination. She reflected on the simple act of starting to talk at home. That single decision, seemingly insignificant at first, had set in motion a profound transformation in her life, unlocking her potential and broadening her horizons. Lily realized that the tools for improvement were always within reach, often free, and always available in the comfort of her own space. No expensive courses or overseas travel were strictly necessary to begin. Her journey underscored that true progress in language learning stems from active engagement and consistent practice. It's not passive consumption of information, but active production of the language that yields results. Every time she spoke English, whether to herself, a stranger, or a colleague, she reinforced her learning. Each word uttered was a brick in the mansion of her linguistic proficiency, built brick by brick. Her method was simple: immerse, produce, reflect. Immerse herself in English content, produce the language through speaking and writing, and reflect on her performance to identify areas for continuous growth. Lily's story serves as a testament to the power of self-directed learning and the immense impact of taking small, consistent steps. Her transformation was a direct result of her commitment to home practice. She now encourages everyone to embrace the awkwardness of self-talk, to read aloud with passion, and to commit to a structured study plan. These practices truly unlock linguistic potential for anyone. The journey to fluency is personal, but the principles remain universal. consistent practice, active listening, and fearless speaking, even if it's just to your reflection in the mirror at home. Lily's success story resonated deeply with many, proving that the most effective English talking practice often begins with a quiet decision made in one's own living room, without any external pressure. Her advice was always practical. Start small, be patient with yourself, and celebrate every tiny victory. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Create your own perfect learning environment right now at home. She understood that improving English was not a race but a marathon. Each practice session, each spoken word, contributed to her long-term linguistic fitness, building stamina and precision over time. The confidence gained from her English study plane transcended language. It empowered her in other areas of life, proving that dedication and consistent effort truly yield remarkable and lasting personal growth. Lily's life now includes international collaborations, travel opportunities, and a vibrant social circle, all made possible by her improved English. Her future seemed boundless, brimming with exciting possibilities. The seemingly simple act of talking to herself at home had blossomed into a profound mastery of a new language, transforming her professional prospects and personal fulfillment beyond her wildest dreams. She often reflected on that initial fear, the reluctance to utter even a single English word. Now conversations flowed freely, a testament to the power of consistent, dedicated, and self-directed practice. Lily's transformation was not a sudden magical event, but a gradual accumulation of small, consistent efforts. Every whispered word, every read sentence, every listened podcast contributed to her success. Her journey is a beacon for anyone intimidated by language learning. It demonstrates that with the right mindset and strategic home practice, fluency is an attainable goal for every determined individual. So if you're struggling, remember Lily's story. Remember the power of your own home, your own voice, and your own determination. Start talking at home today and watch your English soar.